people. Okay, I cut short for the arrival of
The Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Larry, has just arrived. The Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas has just arrived in an official car, and he's walking along the outside of government headquarters, getting ready to inspect the Guard of Honor, which has been drawn up outside government headquarters. He's greeted and he's greeting members of the general public as he enters the dais now to inspect the salute. And outside broadcast unit, we are filming this particular episode for you so that you can look at it in your homes. Larry, it's a very beautiful day here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and any minute now we should be seeing the Prime Minister descend the steps of the dais which was mounted for him outside government headquarters to go and inspect the troops.
Yes, and later this morning we're expecting also His Excellency the Governor General to ascend the dais and to take the salute. At this point, we want to welcome each and everyone to the ZIZ, Sugar City Rock, Win FM, all in the Federation and beyond, to the opening of Parliament, the 6th Parliament of the Federation of St. Christopher Nevis. And the Prime Minister now enters the government headquarters in his ascent to the stairs into the chamber.
Yes, Larry, and the Prime Minister will be leading the members of his government up the steps of government headquarters for the formal opening ceremony of the St. Kitts Nevis National Assembly. The elected members are not inside government headquarters at this time. They assembled on the ground floor, awaiting the arrival of the Prime Minister, who has since arrived and inspected the Guard of Honor outside and is now making his way up the steps, leading the National Assembly, leading the members of his cabinet into the National Assembly for the start of the formal session.
If I'm allowed, Junie, to just go through the list of the elected representatives, right. We have Dr. the Honorable Denzel Douglas, the leader of the government, his deputy, the Honorable Sam Terence Conda, the Honorable Earl Asim Martin, the Honorable Gerald Anthony Dwyer Astafan, the Honorable Rupert Herbert, the Honorable Timothy Harris, the Honorable Cedric Liebert, with Senators-designate Nigel Carty and Richard Skerritt. Added to that, we have the Attorney General, the Honorable Frank Delano Bart. The Nevis representatives would be the Honorable Malcolm Gishard, Vance Amory, and Patrice Nisbet, and the Lone People's Action Movement representative, the Honorable Sean Richards.
Thank you, Larry. Well, the Prime Minister has now entered the Parliament building and is inside the National Assembly upstairs on the second floor of government headquarters. He has come in smiling. He's very happy, must feel very proud of his accomplishments as the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We see the Deputy Prime Minister, Sam Conda, sitting by him. He's flanked also by the Governor General, Delano Bart, also Ministers Timothy Harris, Rupert Herbert, Dr. Asim Martin, Honorable Dwyer Astafan, Senators and Ministers of State Richard Skerritt and Nigel Carty, and the Honorable Cedric Liebert on the back bench. So these are on the government side in the National Assembly. On the opposition benches, we have seen the Honorable Malcolm Gishard, who is the Minister of Agriculture, Tourism and Culture, Telecoms, Information, Lands, Housing, Cooperatives and Fisheries in the Nevis Island Administration. The Honorable Vance Amory has now arrived and is entering to take his seat on the opposition benches. He's the Premier, Minister of Finance, Education, Library Services, Human Resources, Labor, Economic Planning and Development, Trade and Industry, Youth, Sports, Development. He is also sitting on the opposition benches. And as you pointed out earlier, the representative of the People's Action Movement is also here. He is Sean Richards, born and had his early education in Sandy Point.
Yes, Mr. Sean Richardson, a graduate of the University of the Virgin Islands with postgraduate education at Cleveland State University. He's an accountant auditor by profession and holds a bachelor's degree in business administration management, a master's degree in accountancy and financial information systems. He's a motivator of the youth. He has sponsored basketball competitions and co-sponsored awards for excellence in business and account subjects. Founded a society to reward best CXC students and assist the Sandy Point High School Debating Society. Presently, he works as an accountant and auditor for the firm of TDC.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. We must also take a look briefly at the profile of some of the other government ministers. The Honorable J. Dwight Astafan was born on the 27th January 1948, and he went to the Convent High, the St. Kitts Nevis Grammar School, and enrolled in 1964 at the Sir George Williams University, Montreal, Canada, at the age of 20, majoring in psychology. Later enrolled at Inns of Court School of Law, London, England, graduating as a barrister at law. Important to him as a youngster, he worked in his father's grocery Saturdays and during vacations, did everything, sell, way out, porter, cash, just about everything. And he has actively been involved in the community, in sports, in music, as we all know, and worked in the previous administration as the minister responsible for tourism. But under this dispensation, the Honorable J. Dwight Astafan is now the Minister of National Security, Justice, Immigration, and Labor. You can also take a look at, briefly, of the Honorable Dr. Earl Asim Martin. He was born in Gingerland, Nevis on the 4th of December in 1958. He was a teacher at he attended the Newtown Primary School, the Bastia Junior High, and the Bastia Senior High. He was a teacher at the Irish Town Primary, graduated as a medical doctor from the University of Havana, Cuba, and entered into private practice at West Square Medical Office. First elected as a Member of Parliament in November in 1983, representing the East Bastia constituency for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, and sat on the opposition benches. He was re-elected to the St. Kitts Nevis National Assembly and appointed as Minister of Health and Women's Affairs. And some of his activities include former president of the Zero Nights Youth Club, former leader of the Newtown Scout Group, and former team physician for the Newtown football team. Perhaps you can give us a little bit of the Honorable Rupert Herbert as we await the formal opening of Parliament.
Thank you, Mr. Liebert. Mr. Rupert Herbert was born on Wingfield Road, Old Road, in the year 1936. He was educated at the Old Road Elementary School, Middle Island Elementary School, and the St. Kitts Nevis Grammar School. He received teacher training at the Leeward Islands Teachers Training College in Antigua. He migrated to England in 1960, where he worked as a bus conductor, then a driver, while preparing to gain university entrance. He entered the University of Hull in England, where he received a Bachelor's of Science honors degree in economics. He also attended the University of Leeds in England, where he gained a graduate certificate in education. Mr. Herbert has continued his education through management studies at the University of the West Indies, seminars in occupational safety and health in Guyana, national and international labor standards, international relations in Barbados, and measurement of employment, unemployment, and underemployment in Washington.
Yes, Larry. Moving briefly along, we now take a look at the portfolios of the two senators on the government side. The Honorable Richard O. Skerritt, better known as Ricky, born June 7, 1956, 4th Street, Bastia. His education includes Oxford University, England, where he did a Master's in Science, University of the Virgin Islands, where he did his Bachelor of Arts. He attended the Bastia High School, also Southern Illinois University, and the Canadian Institute for Organization Management, and the University of Western Ontario summer programs. His employment history shows that he was the manager of the West Indies cricket team, which he resigned effective July 1, 2004. He was also chairman of Dilil Walwyn and Company, managing director there as well, chairman of and managing director of Vacation and Tour Consultants, chairman of Blue Water Safaris, chairman Liamriga Marine, director St. Kitts Bottling Company, director OTI, and general manager for Dilil Walwyn as well. Also, the Honorable Nigel Carr.